your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be kind. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard. You gotta be tough. You gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool. You gotta stay calm. Gotta stay together. All I know, love save the day. Hear what your mother said. Read the books your father read. Try and solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you. Others take a different view. My, oh my. Hey. Gotta be bad, gotta be bold, gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta stay calm, gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Time asks no questions, it keeps on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. Road keeps on spinning, you can't stop it if you try to. Time is dangerous, staring you in the face. Oh yes, remember, listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go away, release your fears. My, oh my. Hey, gotta be bad, gotta be bold, gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, gotta stay together. All I know, love saves the day, yeah. Gotta be bold, gotta be bad, gotta be wise. Hey, yeah, no one ever said, gotta be hard, no, not too hard, but all I know, love saves the day, yeah. You gotta be bad, gotta be bold, gotta be stronger, gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, gotta stay stronger, gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, gotta stay together. All I know is love save the day. All I know is love save the day. All I know, love save the day.
Please join me in prayer. We come together on this beautiful spring day in the knowledge that we can move from good to grand to great with holy boldness, understanding at the deepest core of our being that we have a power that we have access to that makes things out of itself, including each of us as unique expressions of that power, working in the lives of everyone and making the world a better place for everyone. We know that all that God is, each and every one of us in this facility is. We know this is true for everybody within the sound of our voices here who are joining us from wherever they are. We know that everybody celebrates this power, whether they do it on a mountaintop, from their living room, in a cathedral, in a mosque, or on the couch. We know that all are connected to this divine source. And we are fired up. We're absolutely thrilled and excited that this power is in us, around us, flowing through us, as us, in making the world a better place. I give thanks for everyone within the sound of my voice, Give thanks for our Reverend Kelly, through whom God and Spirit will speak. I give thanks for our musician Ken, for our AV folks, Travis and Brenna. I give thanks for all of our hospitality team, for our practitioners, for our Denise who is here, who leads us. And we know that all of the people who have not been able to attend, who are regular members of this community, are always here in spirit. And that love and that perfect expression of the divine that they are is always at work. I release these words in the divine law where they're already done in the universal mind. I let this go, I let it be, and together we affirm, and so it is. I have some words of inspiration today, and hopefully they're inspirational, because that's kind of what I intended to do with them. Our first are from Maxwell Maltz, the author of Psycho-Cybernetics. As if imagination practice is not about fraud, but a search for hidden truth. It's about uncovering your true self by creatively challenging ideas your self-image accepts as facts about you that may or may not have been valid once, but need not be valid today or tomorrow. Our second set of words is from Neville Goddard. Humanity, through the medium of controlled waking dream, can predetermine its future. That imaginal activity of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled leads humanity across a bridge of incident to the fulfillment of that dream. If we live in the dream, thinking from it and not of it, then the creative power of imagining will answer our adventure's fancy, and the wish fulfilled will break in upon us and take us unawares. And our third set's from our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes. Humanity can learn only through experience until the time comes when they are in complete unity with God. Then humanity will know without first having experienced.
Happy Sunday, New Dawn. It's been a few weeks since I've been here, and I've really missed you all, but it was a good few weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and read Kelly's introduction again. She was here a few weeks ago, 8 weeks, maybe 6-8 weeks, and she did a fabulous job then, so fabulous, and y'all loved her. So we invited her back, and I'm sure you're going to love what she has to say today. She brings a modern voice to ancient teachings, empowering us to live fully using the principles of love and universal law. She's a frequent contributor to the Science Mind magazine and the author of Trust Your Next Step, Creating the Confidence to Cut Fresh Tracks. As well, she produces Fresh Tracks with Kelly Robbins, a podcast. She believes that by living our divine purpose, approaching life as a fun adventure, and trusting our next step, we can all live our lives filled with purpose and passion. Kelly is a mom of 3, grandmother of 2. That new one's pretty cute too. A grandmother, an avid skier, and above all else, she loves snuggling with her orange tabby Aries. So give her a warm welcome, and I'm sure we're gonna love this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. And today we're going to talk about holy boldness is the theme for the month. We're going to talk, the day's title is Fired Up. What we're really going to talk about is how to live boldly, like in English. What does it mean to live boldly and filling our life with passion and excitement? And before we delve too much into that, I would like to share a story about Lenny. Lenny was getting ready to go on vacation, and for a couple weeks, he was looking for someone to just check on things. His mom was a little older and needed some groceries and help with a little bit of errands. He has a cat that needed taken care of, and just a few little things like that, and he couldn't find anybody to help him. Finally, he's kind of nagging at his friend Bobby, and Bobby says, all right, I'll help you. I'll help you out. So about a week after he's gone, Lenny calls in, checks in with Bobby. How's it going, Bobby? How's everything? Bobby kind of pauses. He takes a breath, and he said, I'm sorry, your cat died. And Lenny says, what? You shouldn't have broken the news to me like that. Oh my, you should have told me slowly, Bobby. The first time I called, you should have told me he was on the roof. The second time I called, you should have said you still couldn't get him down. And then the third time I called, then you should have told me you tried everything to get him off the roof, but he fell down and died. You need to break bad news slowly, Bobby. So Bobby apologizes, and Lenny goes about his vacation, and about a week later, Lenny calls again to check in. He says, how is everything? Have you been able to run some errands for my mom? And then there's a long silence. Benny says, well, she's on the roof. I know, I thought that has no point to the talk today at all, but I thought it was so hilarious I had to share it with everyone. That Lenny. Anyway, so I loved the story. It made me laugh. It was kind of a little bit of humor on death and how to handle death. And I've been doing a lot of memorials and celebrations of life the last several weeks. And each person I do a service for, I do a celebration for the memorial. It's been really interesting because I investigate their life, really. I interview their loved ones, and as the officiant, I don't want to tell the stories that they're sharing with me because they're going to tell their stories when they come up and talk. So it's been this balance of, I've started talking about their legacy. And what legacy did this person leave? And looking really like what we talk about here, kind of a high-level view, their life mattered. This soul had a purpose. What was it? And how do I uncover that? So my journalist hat goes on, and I am exploring this person's life. And it's interesting to see how some people live their lives so boldly, and some people are really shy and live their life quietly. Regardless of how they're showing up, they still have a legacy that they left. Their life had meaning. And I've had people die by suicide, alcoholics. I had one man who everyone said how he was just mean. He didn't have a lot of, there's always something. And others have just been the most kind, caring souls. Everyone's been so different. And there's this knowing that every life mattered, that every soul had some legacy to leave on their journey, that their spirits were adventurous. And I've read this book called Speaker for the Dead right after Christmas. Have any of you read it? So it's science fiction. It's by Orson Scott Card. He wrote it, I think, in the 80s. It was the best book. It's the sequel to Ender's Game, which my kids had to read Ender's Game in high school. My daughter gave it to me for Christmas. And Speaker for the Dead takes place in the year 5270. And it is a job that a person is anointed the speaker for someone who died, and they fly across planets to investigate this person's life from a very, it's about the truth of their life. It's very objective. And they interview people similar to what I've been doing, and tell their life story from that human being, from that person's perspective, from their truth. So you might learn, and the whole community comes to hear. It's called a speaking. It's maybe a half a day. The whole community comes to hear the story that they're telling, the truth of that person's life. And they start with their childhood. And you maybe get to see why not everyone has a speaking, only someone who's, usually there was some reason that they were famous or they did something bad that people wanted to hear their life. You would learn why they maybe responded in the way they did or why they reacted, because you were hearing the truth of their life that were things other people didn't know. And it creates this space of healing and allowing a genuine grieving. And we do create, a lot of times with addiction, people who have addictions, us humans will create something similar where we speak the truth of their life instead of, I'm there as a minister looking at how does this person, what's their legacy, how did they live God, how did they show their divinity, how did that show up in their life? And as we're here today talking about holy boldness and living from this fired up, energetic place, I'm going to have us explore what might be my legacy. How am I showing up? And I'm going to pick apart our words a little bit. I don't know if you did this last week or not, but holy boldness. That is, what does that mean? Holy means your divinity, that sacredness that is within you. And I'd say there's this aspect of knowing what does that mean to you? We all have our own definition and understanding our own truth of what that is. What is it for you? And then the boldness, holy boldness, is living that divinity boldly, which is the opposite of shyness, right? To me, that I went, oh, okay, I can get the opposite of shyness. What happens when you're being bold? You're willing to take risks. You're more confident and courageous versus someone who's shy and is a little more timid in how they're living. And then fired up. What does that mean? It means you're energetic, you're enthusiastic, you're full of strong feelings, excitement. So, for us for today, I'm going to have us start with where in your life are you living all fired up? Where are you living excited and passionate about your life, about today, about this moment? And just sit for a minute and think about it. And feel into it. And if you can't think of anything right now, think of a time in the past when you had been so excited and passionate and lived so fired up. And see if you can remember what it felt like in your body. And recognize it is the kind of the key. And as we're in this space, examining our life and where we're excited, where we're living boldly, where might you be holding back? Is there anything that comes up for you? Maybe you used to be passionate, but you're not anymore. See, that passion, that excitement is the very breath of life itself. It is the universe inside you, flowing through you. It is life. And that passion and excitement, it's natural for it to kind of ebb and flow and wane throughout life. And I think it's important to us to know that it's there within us and to be conscious of if we're leaning into it and cultivating a space where it can thrive and express itself. Well, I don't know that we often wake up and say, I'm going to be really excited today. What am I going to do that's going to bring me excitement? I know when Denise introduced me, I have 2 grandkids. Super exciting for me. Whenever I see, my daughter sent me a video last night. The littlest one is, I think he's 7 months, and he's pushing on the little walker. And he was so just like beaming. He's like, look at me. Just walking like so excited. And I'm so excited because he lives in Texas. I'm like, oh, I love you so much. Like, it's just, yay. And what if we were like that more? You know, what more, how more can we bring that in? What's the awareness of it? So, where in your life are you maybe not all fired up? Where you maybe used to be. And it just begins with recognizing it. You know, I used to be really excited when I went to church and heard Kelly talk, you know, and now I'm like, yeah, just something I do all the time. Like, life happens. Work, maybe when you first got that job or first started in your career, yay, you know, there's just such this passion and excitement, and it's natural that it kind of wanes. You see that there's pros and cons to being an adult and living. And it's our job, even our responsibility, to not get stuck in that space, because what's the point of life with that, like ebbing through it? So start with recognizing it, and then try some different things to shift it around. And it can be something as simple as, like Russell maybe sits there every single Sunday, and if he finds himself being a little, having a hard time staying up, maybe he goes and sits over there. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but there's a comfort here, and we get kind of comfortable. And something as simple as switching what part of the room we sit in, it stirs our energy up a little bit, it shakes up our comfort, and it just might make you pay attention a little more. It can start with small things. It doesn't have to be this big upheaval of life. It can be at work, sitting next to different people, changing your attitude, wearing different things, like wearing something really bold to make sure you're all fired up today. Like it doesn't have to be this big rocket science, reinvent your life. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't have to be. The question to prompt ourselves is, where would I like to have more excitement? Or I'd like to have 10 minutes of passion today. What might that look like? Where can I invite that in? It doesn't have to be this big dark night of the soul that sometimes we wear on our sleeve with pride. I worked my way through this Great Depression, and now we do, especially as a spiritual folk. I hear people talk about the dark night of the soul. A lot of us have got to this numb place where we're just going through the motions of life and living numbly. And our goal is to add some fire and spark and embers and get some life happening, some emotion in a positive way. And we do this intentionally, and we do it by choice. I have a quote I'd like to share from Rumi. "The time has come to turn your heart into a temple of fire. Your essence is gold, hidden in dust. To reveal its splendor, you need to burn in the fire of love." There's always Rumi to stir things up a little bit. Here's another one. This is by a Greek philosopher, Plutarch. "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled." Think about that. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, which I love to read books and fill my mind all the time, but a fire to be kindled. Poking at it, moving things around, getting the flame going, getting that life force, that energy of God moving and flowing and being, living. So there's that. That question then becomes, here's where I am fired up, here's where maybe I'm not so fired up anymore. How do you get yourself all fired up? What do you do? And we talked about kind of moving chairs, or we can do subtle things to get us out of our comfort a little bit. I also want to say I like to take classes, because I immerse myself in learning something new. It's always usually a different group of people, so it's just something different, and it allows me to have different perspective on things, and bring whatever I'm learning into my life. So I encourage classes. You guys do classes here. They have them online. Like, doesn't have to necessarily be all spiritual stuff. It can be a pottery class or a sewing class or hiking or anything. It's just getting yourself around different people, doing different things, and kind of breaking yourself out of the routine. And I want to add that we're talking about excitement and passion, and there is a positive to that, and it has its angry side. And we've all been around people who are so excited, but there's this anger kind of underneath it, this self-righteousness. It's not that kind of excitement. It's a positive flow of the divine energy, excitement that we're looking for. And we want to set up our life in a way that we have some opportunity for flow. And I have a reading I'd like to share from Robert Raines. He's a composer and author. To go with the flow of your life is to live without a map, to be vulnerable to having your plans changed, your heart broken, your dreams unfulfilled. It is to trust that God is in the rapids of change as well as in the rocks of continuity. It is being able to stop digging in your heels in against the tide of tomorrow. It is exercising a suppleness of spirit in which you respond to the nudgings and promptings of graceful grace, moment by moment, day by day, in a kind of love making with life. I thought that was so beautiful, a love making with life. Like, how beautiful is that? And of course, it's a composer that wrote that. It's poetic and beautiful. But what he's talking about, I set my life up, like I like to be busy, and I have a calendar, and I'm very structured. Oh, I have this talk, this is going on. I plug things in, and it's easy to not leave room for that flow, to not leave room for those gentle nudgings. And when we're talking about, we need to move things around because we're getting bored, we're going numb, life is becoming stagnant, we want to open up some space for that flow so we can hear the nudges. So we can hear the nudges say, hey, go for a walk. Hey, join a walking group that meets every Friday. Hey, take a class. Hey, become a minister. Become a practitioner. We don't leave room for that because we're busy. Or we're just kind of filled our life with tasks and to-dos. In my coaching business, it was probably been 8 or 10 years. It's been a while. I made a quiz. My website, it was a test on, are you living a numb life? And people would go to the website and it would pop up and you took the quiz and answered questions. And based on your answers, it told you how much you were living with passion and excitement, or if you were kind of going through the motions. I think once we've often got our bills paid and we have food on the table and we have a job, we're surviving, we're doing okay, we just kind of numb out. And many of us don't push for that vibrancy, that energetic excitement in life that takes additional effort, it takes intention, it takes thought. So it's making a choice, it's recognizing where we're not excited, passionate, fired up, knowing what it feels like and recognizing it when it shows up, creating it, and then how do we stay there? How do we stay all fired up? One way to do it is get yourself in that high vibration, get yourself in that high, feel good, yay, space, and then bring it into your spiritual practice. Remember, pay attention, and remember what it feels like. When I started the talk, I invited everyone to bring up a time recently that they'd been excited or passionate and feel into it. Life isn't always going to be a 10. We're not always going to be, so excited. And our feelings like that, we can still bring us to that space at will if we practice it and cultivate it. So one way that I have done that for myself in the past is through spiritual practice. And it was practice and practice and practice and practice. There was a time, I got divorced. I was miserable. It was like 2 years later, and I thought I'd be all better. I'd be happy, and I still wasn't. I was like laying in bed. I got my kids to school, and I'm laying there still, just so lethargic. And I started reading. I started going to church was one of the things, too. But I started reading. I'd spend like 2 hours every morning because I could. I know most of us can't do that, but I would read and say things out loud and just work and work till I got myself just a little bit higher, little bit feeling better, and could go clean or do whatever, run kids around. It was an effort, and I did it for months until I kind of pulled myself out of it. If we're already starting kind of high, we're already going pretty good. It doesn't have to take 2 hours, like at that low point in my life, right? And if we're really focused on it, we can intentionally in our spiritual practice, bring ourselves into more enthusiasm, living more boldly in the morning before we get going. Because the zone, and it does take practice. And one caution on your spiritual practice is that gets boring too. You've got to shift it around. Because it's like something sometimes we do because we're supposed to, and we get comfortable in it. So it can be journaling, meditating, reading, praying, like mix it around, keep the flow instead of allowing it to get stagnant. There's not a right way, there's what is working, and we pay attention to it. Some days it might be going hiking every morning, doing something outside it. There's not a right or wrong answer, there's what's working. And part of that is your focus. So, and this is kind of probably close to the final piece of this, is think about, we're talking about all fired up. How do I focus on that and the power of focus? When we look at light itself, like the sun, for example, I've got a string. The sun, when we have a magnifying glass and we focus the energy of the sun through our magnifying glass, how powerful is that? What does it do? It can start a fire. Like we can start a flame with it. The same thing with like a laser beam. Laser beams can cut through steel. Like it's energy focused. We have that same power within ourselves. What are we focusing on? So it's been a culmination of all of this. Where am I passionate and enthusiastic? When have I been? What does that feel like? Where am I not? Where would I like to be more enthusiastic and passionate? And it might just be, I don't even know. I just know I want to be more enthusiastic and passionate. Just that openness and allowing it to flow and staying focused on it. So that focus might be your spiritual practice, we'll just say. It could be every day. That's what you're focusing on for just a couple minutes, is to get yourself in that space. And we know the power of our focus and attention. And we build on it from there. So that's how we live a life living boldly. That's how we live. It doesn't have to be living boldly that we're theater, I don't even know what you call theater majors, people who are out in the community and they have these big personalities. That's not living boldly. Sometimes when I'm doing my legacy, what's the legacy of this person for a memorial? They were so authentically them. It's the most beautiful thing. And they might have been real quiet, but they were just them. And that's just a beautiful gift to be around someone who's that authentic. So that's living boldly, is loving yourself enough and having that confidence that you're you and owning it. And having that, cultivating that passion and drive through focus and just making that decision. So the same thing is true with focus as when we do affirmative prayer. We teach affirmative prayer here at Centers for Spiritual Living at New Dawn. When we're taught how to do affirmative prayer, there's a method to it, but the method itself is not what makes the prayer effective. It's the emotion and the feeling and the focus that's behind it. And at first when we're learning, they teach us, well, what are the qualities of God? Know that it's in you and it's in everyone. And declare the truth of what that is, which could be love, it could be enthusiasm, life, more life for all, whatever it is. Be grateful, let it go, don't hang on to it. Like, we have all these things. And after a while, the words don't matter. It's what you're knowing inside as you're saying the prayer. It's your feeling and emotion and your beingness as you're praying. So when you're at home, and whether you want to play around with your spiritual practice and affirmative prayer, know that it's not about the words that I'm saying. It's about the energy and feeling and emotion that's behind it. We all felt earlier when Russ did a prayer to open up our space today. He could have been saying cocoa butter chocolate cake, piano guitar. I mean, it's not the words. It's the feeling and emotion. And we're saying words to get us in that space, to be raising our vibration and, in effect, everyone else who's around. Does that make sense? So if there's anything you take home today, it's focus. Focus on what you're wanting. Focus on that it's your choice and your right to live passionately and enthusiastically and boldly as the divine being that you are, and to just have fun with it. And affirmative prayer might be one way that we go. Now, we're going to right now have an affirmative prayer. We're going to close our eyes and take a breath. And you can listen to me say chocolate cake, piano, flip-flops. No, I won't do that to you. Just joking. We'll take a moment. We'll close our eyes and breathe in. And know that this breath is filled with the breath of life. This breath is the divine. It is the universe. And each breath that brings in the life, the oxygen, the whatever it is that is divinity, that has no substance to it at all, it is the life that fills all people, all places, all things. It fills every little cell in our body. It fills our bones and muscles, our lungs, our toes, our ears, our hair. It is everywhere. It can't not be here. And we know that while there's not even words sometimes to describe it, we know what it feels like. And it feels like love. It feels like power and beauty and joy and ease and freedom and prosperity. And that all of those feelings fill each of us up. They fill us up with ease, without effort, with total harmony. And as they fill us up, we know that this is what we're made of. And we can also, in that same breath, see and feel and know that this is what all of us are made of. Every single person we see, every other being, the foxes and cats, all our pets, the sky, the stars, it's all that same beautiful and amazing substance. It's God. It's us. It's me. It's you. And as we realize this truth and how natural it is for us to harmonize with whatever it is we're seeking, we can just breathe and relax. Just feel your shoulders just relaxing, because it is the truth. It's so natural to harmonize with our desires, with that boldness and excitement and passion for life. And as we know this truth and we see it and breathe it and feel it, we can just give thanks. Give thanks that it's really that easy. Give thanks that focus is within our ability. Focus is easy. We can give thanks to know that we are one with all, that we are one with this amazing energy that is the divine, that is the universe, the maker of all things. We can give thanks to know that we are free. And as we know and give thanks, we can release these words to the law. We can release any strain, any effort, any force. And just accept and know that as we release these words to the law, it is so and it is done. And so it is.
Well, down around the corner, half a mile from here, see them long trains run and watch them disappear without love. Where would you be now? Yeah, without love. You know my son is loose down along the track, lost a home and family, won't be coming back without love. Oh, where would you be now, now, without love? Yeah. Illinois Central, Southern Central Rain, gotta keep on pushing, mama. You know they're running without love. Where would you be now, now, without love? Ooh, yeah. Illinois Central, Southern Central Rain, gotta keep on pushing, mama. You know they're late without love. Yeah, where would you be now, now? Ooh, without love. Ooh, ooh, where would you be right now? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, got to keep it moving, baby, but move it down. Won't you move it down? Got to keep it moving, baby, won't you move it down? Long train run, watch them turn around, keep on moving, keep on moving, keep on moving. Got to keep it moving, baby, won't you move down? Ooh, without love. Ooh, where would you be right now?